everyone, my name's Matt King. I've been flying drones and UAVs for about a year now, and I get a lot of phone calls all the time. Matt, I just bought a drone. I want to start charging for my services. How do I do it? Teach me your ways. I think Christmas this year is going to be a huge market for the drone industry. It's becoming more affordable to buy a drone. It's becoming less inexpensive. And it's opening up a new window for things we've never seen before. So it's becoming more affordable to jump into this industry. Now, about a year ago, in order for me to do this commercially, in order to charge for my services, you actually needed to be a licensed pilot. I spent about $5,000 to $6,000 going to aviation school and learning the skills of the trade so I can apply that to the drone world. Now, the government says you don't have to do that. I call it Drone Independence Day, August 29, 2016. The federal government releases what's called a Part 107. Now this covers commercial and civil use of electronic aviation. And the Federal Aviation Administration defines an aircraft as manned or unmanned, anything that's in the sky. So a lot of people say, Matt, I'm a drone operator. Well, you're not a drone operator. You are operating a tool in the national airspace. You are held responsible for anything that happens. The pilot in command, not the operator, not the visual observer. You, the pilot, are responsible for everything that happens. So we're going to kind of talk about the Part 107s, the requirements, how you can jump into this. This is really the first step in understanding the Part 107 so that we can later train you to pass the exam. Number one, you gotta be at least 16 to be certified. You can be 14 to take the test, which is kind of interesting. You have to be able to speak, read, and write English, and you have to get at least a 70% or higher on this exam. It's gonna cost you $150. You can go to your local testing center and just Google my local FAA Part 107 testing center. So you take the test, you pass, congratulations. It's now off to the Department of Homeland Security to do a background check on you. Once you receive your 107 certificate, you're ready to operate. But don't forget your UAV. Don't forget your UAS. Every UAS in this country has to be registered through the Federal Aviation Administration if it is less than 55 pounds or greater than 0.55 pounds. Now this is big. You cannot buy a 40-pound drone and attach 15 pounds worth of cameras and sensors on it. The total carrying weight upon takeoff has to be less than 55 pounds. It's a $5 fee on the Federal Aviation Administration's website, and that's good for 3 years. So every 3 years, you're giving Uncle Sam $5 to register your FAA UAS. Now, this is a big thing. When you register your drone, it's going to send you a number, and this is called your tail number, basically. It has to be visible on the aircraft at all times. Think of when you go to an airport and you see the little numbers at the tail of the airplane, same type of thing. Basically what happens is if you get a wreck or something bad happens, the FAA can track that back to you, and also you can be held responsible for your UAV. It's a very simple system, but if you don't do it correctly, there could be serious repercussions. I don't really like talking about accidents, but it's something that we have to consider in this industry. The FAA requires any accident that exceeds $500 worth of damage or causes serious bodily harm, whether an ambulance is involved, you have to report it within 10 days to the FAA. Here's the other thing. You cannot operate from a moving vehicle unless it's in a sparsely populated area. That's kind of cool. The other thing is you cannot operate a UAV directly over people unless those people are part of your mission. This is big. Marathons don't count, concerts don't count, parks don't count. Remember, the FAA's #1 goal is safety. So the drone has to be able to fly in visual line of sight. You have to be able to see the drone at all times. You can have what's called a visual observer, which is someone standing next to you who is making sure you don't run into anything, because I know sometimes we have monitors or first-person viewpoints that we like to see. So you can have a visual observer. Now, the visual observer has to be next to you. No walkie-talkies, no cell phones. You cannot fly the drone till you can't see it anymore and then have your visual observer standing at that point with a walkie-talkie like, yeah, I see it, Joe, it's up in the sky. You can't do that. You have to be able to see it at all times. Now you have to fly in the daytime, and here's the other cool part. You can fly 30 minutes after sunset. That's another interesting thing. You cannot exceed 100 miles an hour, and you got to maintain a 400-foot ceiling. But here is my favorite rule. The FAA Part 107 allows you, if you're in a sparsely populated area, let's say you're doing a cell tower, you're on a mission, you're doing surveillance for a cell tower that's 800 feet in the sky. If you're 400 feet within that object, you can fly a max of 400 feet above that. So that's the only time when you can exceed the 400-foot ceiling. It's a really, really cool thing. Now we're going to talk about the test. We're going to get into the test a little bit later in the session, but what I really want to hit on is do not underestimate this test. This is an aviation test. This is not a toy. This is not something that you think, you just need to know a 400-foot ceiling, you cannot exceed 100 miles per hour. No, this is a very serious test. We're going to get into weather, we're going to get into maps and charts, so you're going to get into visual flight rules. There are a lot of other aviation-related ground school work type things that need to get done before you take your 107 test. Remember, it's $150 every time you take it. If you fail it, hopefully you don't, you gotta wait 14 days before you can take it again. It's very cheap to get into this industry now. Play by the rules, be smart, make some money, and have fun. Thanks again, this is Matt King, and I look forward to teaching you more.